What is going on, baseball fans? The New York Mets are right in the thick of it. They're coming off a 4-game sweep of the Miami Marlins. They've now won 13 out of their last 14 games and gotten to 3 games over 500. And even more importantly, are only a half game out of the wild card position. And there are 6 teams within a game and a half of each other for those 2 spots. That does not even include the Cubs, who narrowly lead their division in the National League Central. So it is really, really tight right now, and the Mets are one of the reasons why it has gotten as tight as it has. Now, if we're being completely fair, the Mets have beaten up on some very poor ball clubs. They've beaten the White Sox, they've beaten the Pirates, they've beaten the Marlins. So they've beaten up on the teams they're supposed to, which is exactly what good baseball teams do. And they now sit at 59 and 56 after being left for dead only a half game out of that wild card position with 47 games to play in the regular season. And I think at this point, for the Mets to make the playoffs, we're looking at 25 wins. I think 25 wins would do it. I really do. 25 and 22 over these last 47 games would get them in the playoffs. And that does not sound that hard to accomplish. That would get you at 84 and 78. And with how mediocre the National League has been this year, I think that would get you in. And the way they're playing as of late, it's definitely possible of happening. Now, when you look at their schedule, however, if we're being completely fair, the Mets do play a pretty tough schedule. They really do. They only play 2 teams that are not in the playoff race over this 47-game stretch, and that includes a 4-game series late in the season with the Miami Marlins and a 3-game series in Kansas City, who's I think only has like 42, 43 wins this year. So they're not a good baseball team. But other than that, they play some tough teams, especially coming up. They've got the Nationals. They've got the Braves. They've got the Cubs. They play the Braves again. They play the Diamondbacks. They play everybody, the Phillies. So they don't have any more gimmies down the stretch. They use those to get back into the race, and now they have to find a way to beat the teams they're supposed to. And quite frankly, if they want to make it in the playoffs, they're going to have to beat these teams anyway. So they might as well get started over these last 47 games. And the way this team is playing, and I know it's been against weak competition, but the way the lineup is coming together, Michael Conforto looks as if he's turned the corner. I think the guy's hit 4 home runs in his last 3 games. He's got 25 home runs now in the year. He's got a slugging percentage above 500. Jeff McNeil continues to do what he's doing. Alonso is back on track. I think he's got 37 home runs right now. I believe the Met home run record is 41. He's going to eclipse that. And with this pitching staff, the Mets are in this race, and now they play the Nationals. They have a day off today. They come back tomorrow when they will take on the Nationals in a pivotal series. Them and the Nationals are right neck and neck in that wild card race, and the Mets send up their 3 best starters for that series in Stroman, Syndergaard, and DeGrom. You can't ask for a much better trio. You can't ask for a much better situation. The Mets have got to find a way to win 2 out of 3 here. I'm not saying you need a sweep. Yeah, with those 3 starters, you have to win 2 out of 3. Especially in a pivotal series like this against the Nationals. Then against the Braves, if you take 2 out of 3, great. If you go 1 out of 3, I'm not going to kill you. 3 out of 6 over these next 3, but specifically 2 out of 3 against the Washington Nationals, and then we'll take it from there. It's a series at a time at this point. We can't look ahead. We can't project 47 games. 1 game at a time, 1 series at a time, and if the Mets could keep this momentum going, they very well may be playing some October baseball. Now, of course, if they make it, they get a 1-game play, and I don't expect them to catch the Braves, who I think hold a 7.5-game advantage with 47 to play. And if they win that game, they would have to take on the Dodgers. But with the Mets pitching staff, if they get in, they could beat anybody if those guys are on. I mean, you're talking about 3 of the top 20 pitchers in the game, arguably. So, but let's take it 1 game at a time. Let's not even think playoffs at this point. We got a lot of teams we're contending with, 6 teams within a game and a half, and that does not even include 2 other teams, the Giants and the Reds, who are both within 4 games of the wild card. So it's going to be a very tight race. It's going to be a very exciting August and an even more exciting September. And hopefully, an even more exciting October and maybe even potentially November. Let's dream big, Met fans. As always, guys, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.